It's Talk Funny, a podcast by Mark Bailey and other comics from all over. We ended up in Japan because we wanted to try the food Japanese are most proud of. Hamburg steak, ramen, and pizza. The Talk Funny podcast from Nagoyaradio.com and Nagoya Comedy. Here's Mark Bailey.
Welcome back to Talk Funny. I'm Mark Bailey, and I'm here with Mike Miller. So one of the things I wanted to mention, I'm going to mention a few of the Netflix specials that I watched. John Mulaney, are you familiar with him?
Yeah, I saw a bit of his first special, not the most recent one, but the one that was before that.
The first one, and he was like, I guess he's 30 now, but he still looks 12.
Yeah, he's really young.
And when I saw him, I thought it was pretty cool, but, he's pretty good for a beginner. Now he's a closer, and he's at Radio City Music Hall, and that's his latest special. And he doesn't have a lot of jokes. He's from Chicago, apparently, but he speaks like somebody from the 1920s.
Yeah.
Well, the 1920s Chicago.
Yeah,
that's the way he talks. Yeah. It's like, that's not your real voice, man. Be yourself, And that's his whole act. I'm halfway through it now. And he's got a lot of funny stories, but he should probably drop the affectation because it's distracting. And I saw, as I mentioned, Marlon Wayans. The other Wayans brother is funnier, I think. I've seen him on.
I forget. It's a very interesting story because Damon. I forget who's the senior one. The most eldest is the guy who started in Living Color.
And he's on Last Comic Standing.
He was a comedian before. A lot of them were comedians. Because the family, literally, there's like 10 kids or something in the family. So the oldest kid was like working, doing comedy gigs when like Marlon was like a teenager and stuff. So he basically created this whole like comedy family out of all of his brothers
like the
and sisters.
Brothers. Yeah,
it was insane. It's like it's an industry. The whole family's an industry.
There was Damon Wayans, who was on Last Comic Standing with Roseanne Barr. And it was actually very well with Russell Peters as well. That was actually a very good series. That season was very good. And so Marlon Wayans on his special, did we mention this? He got on and he said, it's just the stuff from like Richard Pryor's 1980s stuff. He got up and he said, so white people, we know you want to say the N-word. Actually, no. Mike, do you want to say it?
No,
I don't want to say
really.
it. No, we really don't. We really don't. It's not really. That's not what we envy about black guys.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah.
That's not the appendage that we envy about black guys. That's not the thing we envy. All right. Would you like to, have the physique of a black guy or be able to say the N-word? Physique, please.
Yeah, I think.
Would you like to win the marathon every time, or say the N-word? Marathon, please.
The only guys who want to say that word are the guys who want to be, hip. Pretend like they're hip and they're from the ghetto, or they're kind of like hangers on.
Yeah.
And those are the guys who like to use that word and pretend that they're somehow they can understand the African American struggle because they've seen a few Spike Lee movies and they like NWA and the Posse and stuff like that. I mean, I think those are the guys, and then there's the hardcore racists who use that word as well, like the people who are
that might be 2% of the population or less. But then you got the young kids who never knew any black people, and they got NWA playing in their car, and then a black policeman pulls them over in L.A., and they're turning down. The policeman's like, "Why'd you turn that down?" It's like, it's N-word this and N-word that and N-word this and you my N-word and blah blah. It's like, I don't think they think it anymore. But he was saying, well, we know that you want to say the N-word. No, I would like your. I would like to have the length and width that you have. I would like to be able to run marathons. I would like to be able to eat the food that you eat, but I don't want to have your longevity, your shortness of life, your heart disease and your diabetes rates. There's a lot of things I envy about you guys, but calling each other N-word never crossed my mind. Sorry to crap on your bit, but it's really not realistic.
It's just like the G word, right?
Yeah. Gaijin. Gaijin, please. Gaijin, you shut up.
Gaijin, please.
I hate that Gaijin. That guy, he's Gaijin rich. You know that? He spends his on check. He's Gaijin rich. It's like,
oh God,
it's
awful.
Oh, you gonna order some more Burger King and then some more McDonald's? That's the Gaijin cuisine. The Gaijin, the Gaijin cuisine. What other Netflix comedy specials?
I haven't. Because we did a show a couple of weeks ago, I tried not to watch too many specials before the show because you don't want to pick up subliminally on the stuff that people are saying. I learned that from Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan said the same thing. He said, before I do he says I don't watch other comedians' specials because he says I don't want to subliminally because usually you're not going to repeat like verbatim someone's joke, but subliminally you pick up stuff all the time, and so you may write something, and there's times I've written something and I go like, Is that my joke, or is that something I heard at another special, or on a Netflix special or something?
That's it. Yeah, that's an irritating thing about listening to Joe Rogan, and we love the Joe Rogan Experience. But he's a comic; he has a lot of comic friends, and when he has a comic guest on, I look forward to it. But it's usually not that funny.
Yeah,
because they both have specials coming up, and then they're not doing any of the bits. So it's like, hey, Mike, so did you come in on the train today?
Actually, I came in on my bike.
Oh, you came on your bike?
The train bit is for the next show.
Oh, okay. So the bicycles, I mean, cops, they must stop you a lot, huh?
I can't comment on that until my Netflix special comes out.
Yeah, it's the opposite of improv. Improv is yes and.
Yeah. It's
so,
like, no.
Mike, I understand you're a 19-year-old girl. Yes and.
Yes and, right.
My brass haven't caught up with me yet.
Right, right.
Yes and. But
right.
Joe Rogan show is like, no.
Yeah.
Hey, so Mike, I hear you have this thing about this woman that worked too hard. She had like overwork in Karoshi, and then what were you telling me about that?
No, I don't think that was me. That was someone else.
You just did that last night. How did that bit go?
I don't think that was me. I think that was another comedian named Mike Miller who lives in Nagoya.
Oh, wait, you're not even Canadian. You're Armenian. So, here's one I wanted to mention, John Mulaney. And I had to look it up. Jeez, he looks 12.
Yeah, you were telling me.
He's 35.
35, huh?
And he still has this, fresh face. His stories are funny. I think they'd be funny in his normal voice, but he does a 1920s Chicago accent. So he kind of talks like this, what I mean, mister? Hey, that's a young whippersnapper.
Yeah.
Hey, you better put that Mulaney in your Delaney if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a lot of malarkey. And I'm like, who talks like this? And, his audience is millennials, and he's a millennial. And it's like, what are you doing?
Right.
Because people from Chicago are like, we don't talk like that. People from that area are like, why is this guy talking like he's from a 1920s movie?
I just came out of the speakeasy, see?
Hey, you know what I'm saying?
Al Capone, hey!
Well, that's Brooklyn, but the Untouchables, And it's like, yeah, we're going to break up that speakeasy, you see? And it's like all the, 20s, 30s, 40s actors. It's like nobody talks like that anymore, you know? And so it distracts from his act because he's funny and he has funny stories. I will recommend John Mulaney, if you go to his first special and his closer. Remember the one about he was a kid and they had $20 to spend and they wanted to do a prank. So they went to this steakhouse and they just had they had cola, He said pop. Anyway, so they're drinking cola and maybe they had some pie. But they used their $20 to put in the jukebox.
Oh, I think I remember this now, yeah.
And they played What's Up Pussycat, that's it.
Right, like
Tom Jones, What's Up Pussycat, 500 times. And he said, well, my friend is a genius because he said if it's 500 times in a row, everybody's going to leave. We want people to stay and then get pissed off and stay and get pissed off. So he did What's Up Pussycat 3 times in a row, and then It's Not Unusual. And then What's Up Pussycat 10 times in a row, and then it's Not Unusual. And then It's Not Unusual 10 times in a row, and then What's Up Pussycat. And he goes, there's a guy with his kids, and he's drinking beer. You can tell he has a miserable life. And he said, by about the 200th time of What's Up Pussycat, that's the funniest story I've ever seen. And he didn't do it in the Chicago accent. I don't think he needs it. Because he doesn't talk that way.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Jim Norton. Saw Jim Norton special.
Is it new?
Yeah, well, it's not really new. It's a couple months old, but Mouthful of Shame. It wasn't that bad. I mean, it was... thing is, Jim Norton, a lot of his comedy comes from, he's a very dirty comic, so a lot of it is, sexual stuff and pretty debased. And I think maybe, I don't know, for me it seemed like maybe his act was more radical in, before the advent of podcasts and YouTube and, online video and stuff, because that kind of stuff you can hear anywhere now. But I think maybe he was a dangerous comic, 10 years ago, he would have been more dangerous than now. Because I was watching it and I was going, yeah, that's kind of funny, that's kind of funny, that's kind of funny. But it didn't blow me away. It was nothing that blew me away. Well,
I guess I saw one of his first specials, and he's just talking about how he swallows his nasal discharge, and it's just gross stuff to gross women out. It's very Howard Stern-esque.
Yeah, he's very much that way.
But if you watch his show, he has a show, and he has a very beautiful trans girl on. I don't think he can actually be offensive anymore because he's very pro-trans.
Oh, he is. He's super pro-trans. And he mentions that in his special.
It's hard to be offensive when right now the mood is trans and Caitlyn Jenner's beautiful. She's not.
Right.
Caitlyn Jenner's beautiful, blah, blah. She killed somebody. So I think he's accepted by the trans community, and I think he likes that, and he doesn't want to, piss them off. Who else I saw is Kevin James.
I haven't seen that one yet.
at the beginning, it's very hacky, but he really worked hard. And you could tell he really worked hard, covers the millennials and phones. He's kind of my age, so I get him. He's a very Queens kind of guy. And he worked really hard to make himself relevant again. I think he succeeded. I recommend his special. I actually don't recommend Marlon Wayans' special because it's just catering to the black audience, and that's fine. This is a Netflix special, and this was recommended in my queue. Do I look black to Netflix? Why did you recommend this to me? Because the whole thing is he's imitating white people, and that's Keanu Reeves. The guy you're imitating, that's not Mike, that's not me, that's not Steve. We don't talk like that. We don't talk like that, man. Like, I could do a better impersonation of a black guy than he can do of a white guy, but I'm not going to do it because our podcast would be boycotted.
Well, it's very kind of 90s stuff that white people talk like this and black people talk like this.
But have you ever been outside of California? Because people don't talk like that.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is that, there's different accents. It's the obvious stuff, right? Different accents, different, even among both groups, even among, so-called white people and whatever that is, there's Italians, there's a Jewish accent, there's all these different people.
There's a what?
The whole concept, whole concept of white people is a joke. And same with black people. It's people from different parts of the world. But, and so when you see that, you're kind of like, okay, I get it. White people are square and racist and rule the world, and black people are like free and, this and that. And it's kind of like, can we? I don't mind jokes about that, but can we be more like Chappelle? He's very broad and he talks about everything. You don't have to just limit yourself to that. Like we were talking before in another podcast about people who come up and say they're bald and they say, "Oh, I'm bald," and they go on and on about it. Like it's just boring. We can see that, or I'm Latino, or I'm whatever, I'm trans, or like it's just make jokes about the kinds of funny things that happen to you in those situations, but don't just make jokes about who you are all the time.
I think Tim Linnane said it best one time, and he might have said it during a show in the audience, and you start and you say something like, "So I'm Jewish," and he said something like, "What's funny about that?" Which is an excellent question. Why did you bring it up? Because my mom, because blah, blah, because my rabbi is raping me monetarily, whatever, some funny story.
Yeah.
I'm bald. Yeah. And then, okay, good night, everybody. All right.
Right, we get it.
You told us something we already saw. I'm fat and I hate my life. Okay, but why do you hate your life?
You're right.
Well, did I mention my wife?
Right.
That's something you can't see by looking at
me.
Right. And so, really? Somebody married him?
Yeah.
That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
This is another thing I didn't like about the Wayans guy special is he's like, white people do this, white people do that. You don't like it when we talk about black people or Jews do this or gay people do this. You don't like the generalization. So, Mike's Canadian, he's not Jewish, and I'm from New York, and I am Jewish, and, there's an Italian guy, and he's also considered white. It's like, white is like, isn't that like most of Eurasia?
Yeah. I'm saying, I have nothing against it, like,
but they're all different.
But for me, it's like it becomes hacky after a while. That's what I'm saying. It becomes hacky. I'm not saying that I'm against like making jokes about people from different places because that's a lot of humor is about things. That's Russell Peters' entire career is based on that, right? Are there any X ethnicity in the house? And they go, woo! And he's like, okay, I got a joke for you. Yeah. Any Y ethnicity in the house? Woo! Okay, I got a joke about you. And it's funny, but it's limiting. I think it's really limiting at a certain point, don't you? It's limiting. You got to go beyond that to something else.
His last special, I love him. I love him.
You don't want to be a one-trick pony.
He's a genius, but I love him. But his last special, I felt like he never got to his set list.
Yeah. You mean Russ Peters? Yeah.
All crowd work. Okay, I could watch that for 3 hours, but can everybody watch that for 3 hours? Because I enjoy it, but maybe everybody doesn't,
He had when he was starting out, and what made him famous was his YouTube videos where he did the videos about, Indians and Chinese can't do business together. And that was really funny, and it was a good story.
And how Arabs laugh when they're angry, and that was funny.
But it was kind of more stories, and now he's kind of like, okay, I've got a joke for you, and a joke for you, and a joke for you, and it's not like, where's the story? He's got a couple of stories that are interesting.
I think
he's ready. One about Saudi Arabia was kind of interesting. If you've ever seen this Comedy Central show called This Isn't Happening. Yeah. He does a really good story, but he's better when he gets with the stories, not just, hey, are there any blank in the place? Are there any blank in the place? It's boring after a while.
I think he's ready for The Simpsons where he's able to be parodied. And in The Simpsons, I don't know if they've even done
Maybe he should be the new Apu. I hear that Apu is controversial. They get Russell Peters, the new Apu.
But what The Simpsons will do with him is they'll say, hey, we have any Brazilians in the house? Woohoo!
Yeah.
All right, anybody from Brasileira? Woohoo! How about from Sao Paulo? Woohoo! Okay,
Rio! Hey!
Rio, yeah, woohoo! And then he'll tell some joke that only works in Rio. Yeah. You go like, well, your favela doesn't have the salsa, and that's why you don't have the rumba. And everybody else is like, what the hell does that mean? How about for us 98% non-Brazilians? Like, hey, Mike, so what part of Canada are you from?
Ottawa.
You're from Ottawa. Yeah. Wow. So is it still the capital? Oh, that's an Ottawa joke. Yeah. Hey, you know how long it takes